My loving audience take my love and subscribes my channel. And dive B&B stories. Was this really just a simple mistake at the Logan office? Or was it something way deeper that has been simmering under the surface of Forrester Creations for years? Honestly, we have to talk about what just happened because the fashion world in Los Angeles is officially in a state of total nuclear fallout. Zende Forrester Dominguez didn't just walk away. He basically set every bridge he ever built on fire and watched it burn while he took the elevator down. When he slammed that resignation letter onto Steffy's desk and yelled that he wanted to quit, it wasn't just a career move. It was a massive emotional explosion from a man who has finally had enough. Don't you think it's about time? For years, Zende has been the good son, the reliable designer, and the expert who actually went to school for this. He's been sitting there quietly while the spotlight was handed to anyone with the right last name. But the moment that letter hit Steffy's desk, everything changed. The power dynamic shifted, and we are watching Zende transform from a background player into a total disruptor. The funny thing is, to understand why Zende finally snapped, you have to look at the absolute mess at the top of Forrester Creations. Let's be real here. Steffy isn't running that company like a CEO. She's running it like a tribal leader at war. She is so obsessed with crushing Hope Logan and the hope for the future line that she's causing collateral damage everywhere she looks. By putting Zende's line on the back burner just to spite Hope, she basically told Zende that his talent didn't matter. Think about it. How would you feel if you were a skilled professional and your boss used your entire career as a weapon in a petty family feud? It's like a classic case of middle child syndrome, but in a high-stakes corporate office. Zende has the degree, he has the experience, and he has done the heavy lifting. Yet, he's standing there watching R.J. Forrester get showered with praise for basically just showing up. When Zende threw that letter down, he was rejecting a system that rewards blood over brilliance. In my opinion, that explosion was the most honest thing we've seen on our screens in months. He's done being an underutilized asset, or an afterthought. And did you notice that Zende didn't even go to Steffy first with his frustrations? Last week, he went on a huge rant to Carter Walton instead. Why Carter? Why the company lawyer instead of his actual boss? The answer is pretty damning for Steffy's leadership. She is just completely unapproachable. A real leader listens to their top talent when they're frustrated. But Steffy is just a wall. Her style is all about intimidation and legacy. When Zende needed a vision for his future, all he got was silence. If you look at the situation, it's clear Steffy has lost the room. Even when Brooke tried to take her job recently, Steffy didn't use business numbers to defend herself. She used her childhood trauma as a shield. Can you imagine that in a real office? Telling your employees you should keep your job because you had a hard time as a kid? It shows how emotionally immature the leadership at Forrester really is. Zende finally realized that as long as Steffy is in charge, his designs will always be casualties of her war with the Logans. He's just a pawn in their chess match, and he finally decided to flip the board. But let's talk about the real trigger, R.J. Forrester. This has to be the ultimate insult for Zende. Imagine being the one who actually put in the hours and did the work, only to watch your designs for Hope for the future go publicly uncredited. Then you see Ridge and Eric acting like R.J. is the second coming of fashion royalty. They're patting him on the back for doing half the work with way less experience. Every time they do that, they are basically slapping Zende in the face. They're telling him his loyalty doesn't buy him a seat at the table, it only buys him a stool in the corner. Psychologically, Zende is feeling invisible, and when someone feels invisible in their own family, they're going to do something loud to be noticed. Slamming that letter down was the loudest thing he could do. But wait, it gets even messier at the Logan office. While Steffy is playing checkers with her personal drama, the Logans are playing for keeps. Katie Logan made a deal to start her own line, and she snatched Hope right out from under Forrester. Hope told her mom she was just being smart and protecting her brand. But Brooke had no idea. When Brooke finds out her sister used a legal trick to steal her daughter, there are going to be fireworks. And this is exactly where Zende comes in. He's already eyeing an exit, and he even floated the idea of taking a leave of absence. Does that sound familiar? It's exactly what Hope did before she jumped ship. If Zende follows her to the Logans, it's not just a new job, it's an act of war. Steffy thinks she's winning because she sidelined Hope, but in her arrogance, she's created a place where her own family members are looking to the enemy for respect.
The Logan fashion house is becoming a refugee camp for everyone the Forresters overlooked. It's a rebellion of the disenfranchised. If Zende shows up at Katie's door, the whole fashion world in LA changes overnight. A Logan line designed by Zende and led by Hope? That's a revenge collection if I've ever seen one. It would prove once and for all that the talent wasn't the problem at Forrester, the leadership was. Poor Carter Walton was caught in the middle of this, looking like a deer in the headlights during Zende's rant. But Zende seeking advice from Carter shows how desperate he is for an ally. The problem is Carter is part of the system. Zende is done with the loyal support system label. He wants to be the main character of his own life. In the world of high fashion, credit is everything. By keeping Zende's work uncredited, the Forresters were basically bankrupting his career. It's creative gaslighting. They tell him he's family, but their actions say he's just a utility player they move around to fill gaps. Now we have to address the shocker of the week. Liam finding Hope unconscious at the office. This hit from Zende must have been the final straw for her. Hope and Zende needed to have a long overdue talk about how her move to Logan ruined his future, without any heads up. Zende has every right to be upset. He was promoted to lead designer of HFTF just to have the line vanish the next day because Hope quit. He saw Hope's big reveal at the Logan show and realized HFTF wasn't going back into production like he thought. Eric just told him, "Not anymore." Can you imagine being blindsided like that? Hope chose herself over the team, and Zende is the one paying the price. It makes sense that their confrontation was brutal. Hope has been under so much pressure from every side. Brooke is chewing her out, Steffy is blasting her, and now Zende is giving her an earful. Her body literally gave out. Brooke is absolutely spiraling over this. She's broken-hearted and hopeless. She's even demanding that Hope leave Logan and come back to Forrester right now. When Hope wouldn't cave, Brooke reached a tipping point and slapped her with a devastating ultimatum. Brooke even went unhinged and smashed a screen. She doesn't want Liam and Hope at her mansion anymore, so they're probably packing up and moving to the Spencer estate. It's a total family meltdown. Katie and Bill are trying to tell Hope that Brooke is being unreasonable and they're shutting down any traitor talk. But Hope is terrified that her relationship with her mom will never be the same. Honestly, do you think Brooke is going too far by kicking her own daughter out? While all this is happening, the Forresters are trying to figure out how to handle their own launch with the press having a field day over everyone running to Logan. Steffy and Enraged are even considering delaying the launch or making it streaming only to hide from the questions. Zende's departure is going to leave a massive hole. Who's going to design the relaunch? RJ? He's definitely not ready for that kind of pressure. Steffy's incompetence is going to be on full display when that runway show happens and there's no Zende to take a bow. It's a disaster waiting to happen. Zende is becoming the anti-Forrester. He's taking the family name and the family talent and giving it to people who actually care. He's directly challenging the house that Ridge and Eric built. And then there's the secret birth certificate drama. Do you think Katie is actually the mother? The Ivy reveal seems more grounded, but a Katie Logan twist would be explosive. Katie has been through so much medical trauma. Finding out she was robbed of a child would be a major crisis. And think about the drama between Katie and Brooke if that happens. It would flip the script on their entire relationship. Ivy spent years away in Australia. Did someone help her hide a pregnancy? We might get a new character from Australia soon to add more fuel to the fire. It's exhausting, but don't you just love every second of it?
Well, Spencer is caught in the middle of this too. He faces consequences because Elektra is upset. He didn't tell her about the Logan developments. Elektra might even move out of Will's place and go back to Eric's for a while. RJ is already hovering, encouraging Elektra to dump Will and say he can't be trusted. Feels like everyone is being used as a pawn. Elektra just wants to design jewelry. But in LA, happiness goes out the window when a secret birth certificate shows up. The House of Logan is rising, and it's being built on the bricks of Forrester's mistakes. Katie is justifying hiring Hope because she's a Spencer by marriage. It's messy, it's petty, and it's brilliant. If Katie grabs in too, the fireworks will be legendary. She might even use the technicality that Zende is adopted, and his real name is Dominguez to get around her pact with Brooke. Brooke is going to lose her mind. This isn't just business. It's a declaration of war. What happened during the confrontation before Hope collapsed? Was Hope Logan's collapse really just a sudden medical emergency? Or was it actually the sound of her entire world finally folding under the weight of her own choices? Think about that for a minute. What we just saw go down at the Logan office wasn't just a typical dramatic scene. It was the psychological climax of a massive family and corporate war that has been building up for years. We've all seen the headlines by now. Zende is fleeing after a huge blow-up, and Hope is found passed out on the floor. But to really understand what happened, we have to look past the physical collapse. We have to look at the total breakdown of the Forrester family hierarchy. In my opinion, that physical collapse is a direct result of those mysterious health diagnosis rumors we've been hearing. But the real trigger wasn't some illness. It was the brutal, unfiltered truth delivered by the one man she never expected to turn on her. To really set the stage, you have to realize that the Logan office isn't just a workplace anymore. It has become a refugee camp for everyone the Forresters have ignored or cast aside. For months, we've watched Steffy Forrester run that company like a tribal leader at war rather than a professional CEO. The damage has been piling up everywhere. If you look at the situation, Steffy's obsession with crushing Hope's line, "Hope for the future," created a total pressure cooker. Zende's entire professional future was treated like a secondary concern in a petty family vendetta. Why did he finally snap? Because he realized his loyalty to the Forrester name was a one-way street. It only ever led to a dead end. He was promoted to lead designer on a Friday, only to find out at a press launch on Monday that his line didn't even exist anymore. If you were a trained expert and watched a bartender like Deke Sharp suddenly become the designer everyone is talking about just because your boss was too mean to talk to, wouldn't you lose it too? When Zende walked into that Logan office before Hope collapsed, he wasn't looking for a simple apology. He was looking to reclaim his dignity.
Psychologically, Zende has been suffering from what I call invisible man syndrome for way too long. He's been the reliable, good son who just sat in the corner while everyone else got the glory. He watched kids with their right last names, like RJ, get showered with praise for basically just showing up. Every time Ridge and Eric patted RJ on the back for work that Zende actually had to help with, they were essentially slapping Zende in the face. To me, this is a clear case of creative gaslighting. The family tells him he's valued, but their actions prove he's just a utility player used to fill gaps. When he finally confronted Hope, he was done being a loyal soldier. He wasn't just quitting a job. He was rejecting a whole system that rewards blood over brilliance. The funny thing is, Hope probably didn't even see him coming. She was already reeling from a screaming match with her own mother. Brooke Logan had reached a tipping point we haven't seen in years. She went completely unhinged and even smashed a showroom screen in a fit of rage. Emotionally, Brooke feels totally betrayed. She fought so hard to keep Hope in the Forrester family, only to have her own daughter and sister use a legal loophole to leave. Brooke's behavior is a classic case of trying to control someone else's life because she's scared of her own past. She's terrified of the Logans being looked down on again, so she's trying to force Hope back into Forrester royalty even if it destroys Hope's dreams. By the time Zende arrived to give Hope an earful, she was already emotionally empty. Imagine having your mother kick you out of your house, and then your lead designer walks in to tell you that you're a selfish betrayer who ruined his life. Zende acted this way because he finally hit a point of career grief. He spent years mourning the dream of being the next Eric Forrester. He finally realized that no matter how hard he worked, the Golden Children would always have a seat. The real trigger was the total lack of a heads-up. Hope moved her whole brand and didn't even send him a text to tell him his new promotion was dead.
In Zende's mind, this wasn't just a business move. It was like he didn't even exist to her. He acted out because he was desperate to be heard. Even if the only way to do it was to hit her with the most brutal verbal takedown of her life. You have to wonder, did Hope even realize how much she was hurting the people around her? Or was she so focused on her own success that everyone else became invisible? Internally, I think Hope was feeling a total loss of herself. She spent her whole life trying to be the moral compass and the good daughter. But in her rush to be a boss, she realized she was leaving a trail of broken people behind her. The guilt of what she did to Zende, combined with her mother's ultimatum, created a storm her body just couldn't handle. Zende, on the other hand, was probably feeling a rush of total freedom. There's a dangerous kind of liberation that comes when you realize you have nothing left to lose. His rage was the sound of a man finally choosing himself over a family that treated him like a backup plan. Do you think he felt bad when he saw her pass out? Or was he so far gone that he didn't even care? I see this confrontation as the first real sign that the Forrester brand is falling apart. By Zende slamming that resignation and confronting Hope, he proved that the leadership is the real problem in Los Angeles. The House of Logan is literally being built out of Forrester's mistakes. Every time Steffy ignores a valid complaint from Zende or Carter, the Logans gain a new recruit. Zende is the wild card here. By fleeing after that fight, he showed he's no longer part of the Forrester team. He's now the storm that's going to tear the whole house down. Honestly, I agree with him. It's hard to watch the Forresters act like a family business while they treat their own people like outsiders. Zende has the credentials, but he's asked to play second fiddle to a kid who barely knows what he's doing. Hope was wrong for not telling him, and while her collapse is scary, it was bound to happen. You can't try to be a boss and a victim at the same time. This whole situation is a case study in what happens when your ego finally collapses. Zende's ego fought back, but Hope's just gave up. When your mother, your rival, and your friend all tell you that you failed, it becomes a physical weight. Her collapse wasn't just a feint. It was her brain hitting the emergency stop button because reality was too painful. And the drama didn't stop there. Things got way worse when Liam walked in and found her on the floor. Think about how it looks. Zende is seen running away. Brooke is already known for having a meltdown. Steffy is waiting to blast Hope for quitting. Everyone is looking for someone to blame. Was it Zende's words? Brooke's anger? Or Steffy's bad leadership? I think Zende's hit was actually the truth. He probably told her she was just as bad as Steffy. For someone like Hope, that's the ultimate insult. I'm calling it right now. This collapse is going to lead to a major medical storyline. It'll force everyone into a temporary truce, but the war isn't over. While Hope is in a hospital bed, the battle for Zende's loyalty is going to move into the dark. Katie is already playing a game of loopholes. She's using the fact that Zende's real name is Dominguez to get around her promise to Brooke. If Zende joins the Logans while Hope is sick, it won't just be a job change. It'll be a revenge move designed to destroy Forrester Creations. The consequences are going to be huge. First, Forrester is heading for a disaster. With Zende gone and Hope at a rival house, who's going to design their big relaunch? RJ isn't ready for that. Steffy's failure will be obvious to everyone when that runway show happens, and there's no designer to take credit. Second, I think Brooke and Ridge are done for good this time. Seeing Ridge support Steffy's bad decisions while Brooke's daughter is suffering is going to be the final straw. Brooke is already broken-hearted. This crisis will push her into a war against the Forresters that we haven't seen in years. I predict Zende will realize the only way to get respect is to join the rival house. He'll become the main creative force at Logan, finally proving that he was being held back by the Forrester name. Hope's collapse might even turn out to be a serious illness that keeps her sidelined for a while. That would leave Zende to run the whole show at Logan, making him the most powerful designer in the city. And let's not forget about the rest of the family. Hope and Liam are probably going to move out of Brooke's mansion after that ultimatum. So what do you think? Is Zende a hero for finally standing up for himself? Or is he being impulsive? And what about Hope? Is she a boss for starting her own line? Or did she totally betray the people who supported her? The debate is heating up and I want to know whose side you're on. Are you Team Forrester or Team Logan? Drop a comment and let's talk about it. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the secrets and scandals of the fashion world, make sure you hit that like button. It really helps us keep bringing you these insights. And if you don't want to miss a single second of the fallout when the Logan secret finally explodes, you've got to hit subscribe and turn on those notifications. We are covering every punch, every kiss, and every corporate betrayal as it happens. You won't find a deeper analysis anywhere else. Thanks for hanging out with me today and diving into the madness of Los Angeles. I'll see you in the next one for more bold and the beautiful shockers. Until then, keep an eye on those locked boxes, because you never know what kind of secret might be hiding inside. Have a great day, soap fans.